do a double drop high-low rig. I know you guys are usually used to something like this, right? High-low drop like that with the hook. But I wanted to show you something more modified where you get a little bit more stiff high-low drop. So I'll show you a quick do-it-yourself tutorial. So uh, when you go fishing with one of these high-low, you could avoid having these loop or a hook that doesn't easily come off. And then this one is a little bit more loose, loosey-goosey, where this one is a little bit more refined. Almost like when people put like, almost like one of those metal leader, right? But you could get it with the monofilament. So just like making any kind of high-low double drop loop, you want to get, first of all, two hooks, right? And then let me show you guys what hooks I'm using. So I'm going on a deep drop if the weather permits soon. So I'm using a circle hook. So circle hook is basically in the, if you look in the tip closely, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little bit of a curve. So what it does is you don't have to set your hook when you're fishing way in the deep drop. You need to use a circle hook because you're not going to set your hook from a 300 feet of line, fishing line on the bottom, the deep sea. So you want a circle hook. That's what I'm using for my upcoming trip. Always use these silicone little guys so you don't get hooked. So just like any high-low rig, double drop high-low rig, you want to get enough length. So first, what you want to do is you want to get a double, you want to make a loop for your sinker. So it's very simple. It's just a double loop. You get the tip, enough size at the end, and then you want to loop it twice. That's all. One and two. And once you do that, you're done. This is where you're going to put the sinker. So then now you want to put your first loop, and I'm going to show you how I do it. Let me get enough lines here to get my double loop. So again, this isn't just a regular double loop you usually tie, or what your mates make. This is a little bit more of an enhanced uh, high-low rig. So what you want to do is one hand you want to hold so that it doesn't move, and with the other hand you want to start turning. See how it loops? So what you want to do is kind of spin it together a little bit. And then once you get this little bit of a, see, sort of a twist, you want to pull it a little bit and then let it go back again. As you do that, you want to pull and turn. You want to turn, rotate one of the lines while you're holding the other line. So pull, rotate, pull, and rotate. So it's going to get stiffer. So this is where you could play with it. However, if you want it stiffer, if you want it longer, um, you could give it a little bit more line and then pull it and then rotate and so forth. See how it goes? So you're not going to have any more of those little long loop, and then you're going to have, you could keep it short. If you keep it short, it'll be a lot more tighter. If you want it longer, it'll stick out more. A lot of people use like straws and metals and things like that, but you could do this with, again, this is just 50. You could do it with 40 pound, 50 pound, or 60 pound, like that, just like that. So once you have that, right, you get it upside down, and all you have to do is loop it. See how I loop it? So right here, you want to loop it just like that, right? And then you want to rotate, turn, turn, just like this, turn, turn, keep turning about at least 5 to 6 times. And then once you turn enough, right here, you see both sides, you should hold on to that eye in the middle, right? It's eye in the middle, and all you have to do is just take this and insert it into that eye. See how it goes? And then you want to take it all the way in until you see a triangle on the middle. See this triangle in the middle? You want to pull it all the way until you get that triangle. And then you want to slowly cinch it. See how there's a little bit of a loose loop right here? Just pull it aside like that. You could pull it, and then you want to wet it a little bit. I'm just not wetting it. But even without wetting, you just need to take your time and start pulling it, and then you could always pull it back out if there's some uneven areas. You just wet it, just like that, and then keep going. And if the loop is too uneven, again, no rush. Pull this out farther, and then just like that. Now you have a nice little loop right here where you could take any type of hook, insert it in just like that, and then you could always open this part if it's not too tight. So you don't want to get it too tight into the hook, and then pull it out just like that. So when you're fishing now, you have this stiff high-low drop right here, and you have a control over having it much longer, but it's not going to be all loose, and it's not going to twist on the line because it's stiff enough. So again, tighter you make, stiffer you'll get, and you can make it longer, long as you want. And most of the time, it's not going to get tangled. So this is a modified way of doing it instead of this traditional way of just, let's see, I'll show you the other way, right? This is probably the traditional way of doing it. And you get this double line, and it gets all over the place, and it gets easily tangled. So turning it into this, a lot more stiffer. You don't have to put straws or anything on here. Easily with 30-40 pounds, you can make something like this. Keep the hook away from your main line. Get this, and it gives a lot better presentation. So let me show you guys. If you guys could click that like button if this is helpful, and this will be uploaded so you guys could replay and watch how I do it. So let me make the second loop again. I put one double knot loop for the sinker and about hand size, however you want it. There's no right or wrong way. So I'm gonna give a lot more space in between these. For this one's the low, and then this will be the high. So again, you want to have a control with one hand, and then with the other hand, you just loop it just like that. But as you do it, you want to see my hand like this. You want to keep turning it one way. But as you turn it, just like that, and just like that, you want to pull it a little bit, and what it will do is you'll wind, almost like creating a spring. For you. do it with one hand first. If you could use both hands in same way. So if you're turning this way, this is also turning that way. Both turn will go both ways. And then just pull it a little bit, almost like a spring, and let it go, and it'll get tightened. As you pull and let go, you want to spin, like rotate the line, and then pull, rotate the line. In the beginning, it might not be easy, but you could either wet your hand or use our alcohol wipe to dry your hand, however that works. You could just, again, pull. What's going on, guys? Good morning to you guys from somewhere else, probably in Asia or somewhere else. So just like that, you keep pulling, just like this. So again, you could either keep it tight and short, and more you rotate, stiffer this will get because you're going to get a lot more twist to it. And then, or you could just make it longer, but you don't have to twist it much. The whole point is instead of having this long separated loop, you want this one stiff loop that will give a great presentation with the bait, whether it's surf fishing or like a deep sea fishing or however you want to. Again, once you have that loop, let's see, this out of the way. Once you have that loop, again, upside down, right? In this position, you want to kind of loop it right there. Loop round like that, and then you want this middle opened, making an eye, right? And then you want to keep twisting, rotating that eye, and then you could feel this start rotating to the bottom or the top, whichever you're turning it. And after, again, 5, 6 times or so, you could just take the tip of this and insert it into that hole that you made, the eye that you made with the twist. Again, you keep pulling it all the way up until you get sort of a triangle, like a tent right here. Just keep pulling it until you get this. And then once you have that, you want to cinch it by pulling both sides. Again, wetting it is the best way to go. Let me wet this. Then you want to turn it. Again, don't rush it. Just turn it slowly. And you want to wet it. And if you have one of those knot tying tool, use it please, because you're going to get this right first time. Just like that. You'll get a nice little presentation. High-low drop rig. That's a little bit more modified. Again, you don't want to do this while you're on the go. These are all pre-rigged. I wouldn't recommend you while you're on a rocking boat with slippery hands trying to do this. Do this at home. It's almost like I think a lot of people buy a metal rig because it's stiffer with this type of leader, like a metal leader, twisted metal leader, right? But you don't have to do that. You could use this is a monofilament, mono or fluorocarbon if you prefer, just like that. Less lines to tangle and has a good stiff presentation to it. And then also because the loop itself is stiff, the hook doesn't come loose. So once you have it in there, it stays put, just like that. Hope this helps. Having these rigs ahead of time will be very helpful. If you guys have any questions, again, please, if this helped, click that like button, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.